What's good, everybody? It's your boy 313J-Mo here with another video for you guys. Well, in the aftermath of the Lions Saints loss, we got fans rehashing old topics, and it's something that I definitely did want to talk about because I thought it was very important. What I like to call the Jim Caldwell theory. You should have never fired him. He didn't even have enough time. And you know, I still got my sinuses messing me up, y'all. You know, my above the rim watchers, you guys know about that. But you know, when I'm looking at it, Jim Caldwell he had a winning record. He beat divisional teams. He never had a losing record in the division as long as he was in the division. And it's a lot of other things that he did do well, and then it was things that he did wrong. But this is where I'm gonna start. When I talk to older fans, I'm talking about, you know, the people around my age, your uncles and your grandfathers and your old heads in the family, your males that's over 50 or whatever. And whenever they talk football and they talk about now, they always talk about how Jim Caldwell never should have been fired. I hear it every time. Jim Caldwell had 4 winning seasons and you made the playoffs 2 of those years. How could you get rid of him? And it's a lot of people around that age range of that same sentiments. I know Jim Bordeaux, shout out to you, Jim, man. Make sure you guys subscribe. His channel is in my description. I know he's an older Lions fan and he pretty much liked Caldwell, according to what I remember. Now, of course, there's things that we didn't like, but I feel like it's about what the GM does and what the type of message that they send. Because Bob Quinn sent this message that 9-7 wasn't good enough to basically turn everybody on Caldwell. My thing is, I think that we're all a little bit wrong on this and a little bit premature on this. You don't have to agree with me, but at the end of the day, I know I'm right, because I'll be right when we get our next coach and he isn't better than Caldwell. And you might say, isn't better than average? Our next coach is going to be like that? And that's exactly what I'm telling you is going to happen. This is something, it was just a bit premature. And when I talk to a lot of Lions fans, I mean, when I tell you, I'm talking to people from other fan bases, and I want everybody on my channel to listen to me right now. I'm talking to people. Stop being so self-centered and so arrogant because you're a Lions fan and you think you know more than everyone else. Just listen for a second. I'm talking to people from other fan bases. They're telling me, oh, y'all would be good. I mean, like verbatim, this dude, Cowboys fan, literally told me, he's like, oh, y'all would have been good if y'all kept that coach. And I'm like, I literally told him, I'm like, Caldwell, I'm glad we got rid of Caldwell. He started laughing at me. And I'm like, what? I'm like, he's like, y'all got Patricia now. He's like, y'all gonna be terrible. Like, and you know, and it wasn't like, it's not like Jim Caldwell is some world beater, great out of the bounds coach. But how do you get fired after winning back-to-back years? You know, and we talk a lot about things that happen with black coaches, and whenever someone says, well, why don't Jim Caldwell have a head coaching job? Sorry, guys, but I'm gonna be real with you. He's a black head coach in this league. Show me another black head coach of Jim Caldwell's stature that recently got fired and now has a head coaching job. You won't find one. All right, that ends that discussion there. Now, and what else what you're talking about with this guy is, I'm just saying, you know, everyone else says that he was good. You listen to Dan Orlovsky, you listen to Glover Quinn, people are actually on the team, and us as fans think we know more than them. Dan Orlovsky and Glover Quinn tell you the culture was great. They tell you it wasn't nothing, we just needed another step. They tell you Caldwell was great. But we want to think we know more. Oh, we lost this game here. Oh, we lost this game there, so the dude is trash. And in reality, that's not the truth. I had a lot of problems with Jim Caldwell, and it's well documented. I have rant on top of rant on top of rant because I didn't want somebody to waste Matthew Stafford's career. Well, guess what? Jim Caldwell, he elevated Stafford's career, and Matt Patricia has only downgraded it, and Stafford has looked the worst he's ever looked over these 3 years combined under Patricia. He had one great year, and the rest of that, he hasn't looked good at all. And, you know, I'm looking at the actual rosters of these teams. So everyone listening to this video, I need you to do me a favor. Need you to go and look at these actual rosters. Because so you can see what I'm saying, and I'm backing it up. Jim Caldwell never really had much to work with besides that 2014 roster that was a beast. And we won 11 games with that roster. And then we got robbed in the playoff game. That was the playoff game that we were supposed to win. We got robbed. Cool. Whatever. After that, you lose Sue, and you have a losing season, and then you go 7-1 in the last 8 games with that Green Bay. We ain't gonna even talk about that. That's what they had to do to keep you from making the playoffs that year. So the next year you just started off 1-3 like this team with mediocre talent and somehow still made the playoffs. I mean, it took a miracle and it took some crazy things to happen. And then the next year we missed the playoffs and you still went 9-7. I'm looking at this guy, 10 wins in 2.5 seasons almost. And I'm just looking at how terrible Patricia is and how good Caldwell was, at least for the team. Yes, we were average to above average sometimes, and there's a record out there. So, which is funny because it depends on what narrative that you're trying to listen to about this. The dude told me, because when I was talking about Caldwell recently, he said the Lions were 4-25 against winning teams. So I'm like, so what is Matt Patricia against winning teams? And I really want you guys to put it in the chat to make sure that I got my numbers right, because he beat the Patriots. I think that same year he beat the Packers, and I think the Packers had a winning record, or did they not and go 7-9? I can't remember. And then the next year, who did he beat? Because Stafford got injured. We didn't beat any winning teams that year. Let's see. We beat the Chargers and the Eagles and the Giants. The Eagles were 8-8. So we didn't beat any winning teams that season. Oh, now let's look at this year. We beat a 2-2 Arizona Cardinals team. I do think they'll finish with a winning record. So, and Matt Patricia, 2 seasons and 4 games, he's beat a total of 2 winning teams. So y'all want to talk about Caldwell, but not only did Matt Patricia lose all those games to winning teams, he also got beat by bad teams as well. And when you 4-25 against winning teams, that means he must have beat all of the losing teams then, Jim Caldwell. What's his record against the losing teams? I've probably only seen him blow maybe 2 games against teams that were trash. We always beat those teams. And at the end of the day, you're supposed to beat the teams you're supposed to beat and hope you can get over the hump to beat the better football teams. But back to the rosters that I was talking about, you got to look at these rosters. These rosters that Caldwell had were not that good. From top to bottom. I think Patricia's had a lot of talent. Caldwell didn't have a Kerryon Johnson and Adrian Peterson and a TJ Hawkinson, a tight end who actually catches the ball and blocks. No, he didn't have that. Instead he had Theo Riddick, Zach Zinner, and Amir Abdullah. Wow, guys, that's a lot of talent there, folks. Like, seriously, that's what Caldwell was working with, and he still had a winning record with this. So, yes, he had Calvin Johnson and Kenny Galladay and Marvin Jones and Golden Tate. And, I mean, Patricia's had great receiving core as well. So, but when I'm looking at the defensive side of the ball, Caldwell's best pass rusher after Sue left was Ziggy Ansah for 1 year. And then, Kerry Hyder and Devon Kennard and Romeo Quara in 2017? Like, the same stuff Patricia had. You could just say Trey Flowers is either better or comparable to Ziggy Ansah, whichever one floats your boat, which regardless of that, when you look at these teams, Caldwell had less talent and did more. And, I always blamed him for the running game, and I'm not going to stop doing that. But he didn't really have any running backs. Say whatever you want about Kerryon. That boy is way better than Amir Abdullah. And Amir Abdullah has missed an entire season before. And Theo Riddick, come on, man. DeAndre Swift? You seen the way we used Theo Riddick? And we had Theo Riddick running the football like he was a real running back. And he wasn't. Just imagine if Caldwell had DeAndre Swift. And I know Jim Bob Cooter was his guy, so Caldwell deserves all the blame for that. I won't absolve him for that either. But regardless of that, he didn't have a Darrell Bevell calling the plays. So I'm just looking at the actual talent on these Caldwell-led teams besides 2014, which was just a very good team. Like, he really didn't have much to work with, and he still salvaged winning seasons. Even when we go 1-7, he can still salvage the season to a point till we have to get cheated to not have a 500 record. Matt Patricia start off 1-7, he going 1-15. I mean, the man, that's the biggest alarming thing to me was him losing 0-8. And we played some bum run-of-the-mill trash teams, and I'm like, this guy's trash. And that's all I want to say, man. I just think we were just a little bit too soon. He was only here for 4 years. He should have had a little bit more time. I don't know why Lions fans think that he reached his ceiling already, and he never even really had enough talent in the first place. How did he reach the ceiling? He was just winning with what he had, and of course, he was not the perfect coach. It's well documented me going in on him, and I ain't gonna take none of that stuff back because he had some bonehead game time decisions. But somebody brought up something profound to me though. Before Andy Reid won that Super Bowl, people used to always talk about him being bad at decision making. They used to say the same things about Caldwell they used to say it about Andy Reid. And then Andy Reid won, and now he's validated. So all I'm saying, and I'm not comparing him to Andy Reid. Andy Reid is way superior, so don't get that twisted. Now, I'm just saying we didn't give Caldwell. I mean, the man didn't have no running backs, and his tight end couldn't catch the football. We didn't give him enough time. You don't fire a man after 2 back-to-back winning seasons. And if the GM would have came with a different mindset, this is why Bob Quinn 150% has to go. Bob Quinn came in here was like 9-7 ain't good enough and turned Jim Caldwell into the villain. See, after that season, if a good general manager would have been like, okay, talking to the people, just letting them know, okay, we didn't do what we wanted to do this year. You looking at Caldwell, he literally has taken us to the playoffs twice, and he has a winning record. We're going to continue to build on this and try to get a better roster and get a better football team. I mean, we just now built the offensive line, and Patricia is going to waste our good offensive line that Bob Quinn did build. And Bob Quinn came in with the mindset, 9-7 not good enough, get him out of here. So every fan went with that same mindset. But if he would have came in like, we just going to keep it pushing, we going to try to build off of this. And that's what Dan Orlovsky was saying. They were in a mode where they had a good culture and they needed to build. So Lions fans, I'm going to ask you, our players who were in the locker room say we had a good culture, say we were a team who could win any football game every week, and they ride for Caldwell, but you as an arrogant fan believe that you know more than them and you're right over the guys that was in that locker room. And I just feel like that's funny to me. So to all of the people who think that we didn't have a culture, you're wrong. All the people who think Caldwell was a bad coach, you're wrong. What did the players say? And I'll keep saying it. I'll say it one more time. How are you arrogant enough to believe you know more than the guys that was in the locker room? They done came out and said it. Like I said, Caldwell was the above average coach, but at the end of the day, we won football games and we were competitive in the division. Patricia's 0-5. He's never beat the Bears or the Vikings. Caldwell never had a losing record in the division. One year we went 5-1 in the division. Like, how is this even debatable? We should have kept the guy just off of the fact that he was competitive in the division and we won football games. You don't get rid of Caldwell until you have a valuable replacement that is proven, that's been there, that's done that, and that's ready to go to the next level, and that's done something as a head coach. Instead, you bring in another Bill Belichick failure, and now the Lions done lost one of the best coaches they done had. Same thing happened with Wayne Fontes. Fans ran him out of the building when he was the best thing that happened to them, and they didn't get another coach until Schwartz and Caldwell. How'd that work out? Y'all ran him out in the same way, and the same result. And I just feel like we did the same thing, and I'll blame Bob Quinn for all of this. It's your boy 313 J-Mo. Let me know what you think about Caldwell. Should we have just kept him and continued to build on something instead of, going to the ground and the foundation and destroying everything, and then you ending up with nothing? I think we should have gave Caldwell a little bit more talent, just a little bit more time. And there isn't really, people say that we reached our ceiling. I just want to say, how can you say that after 4 years and that's all they gonna be? I'm not buying that. all we had to do was get a better talent on this team. We never had that much, but it's your boy 313 J-Mo. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I'm out of here, y'all.